Good morning, or good evening. It's morning for some of you. Hi, everybody. There's a little song called Moonlight Sonata. Let me fix this. Let me fix this image real quick. I'm gonna play you guys a little something called Moonlight Sonata because a guy named Beethoven, he got it. He knew what was going on. The song was about NASA. It was written hundreds of years ago. And the sadness and the ache is because Beethoven looked up at La Luna and knew that a bunch of Chinamen would lie about going on a probe. And Beethoven was deaf. He could still hear the lies. La Luna! There's going to be a little piano tonight, ladies and gentlemen, because it's not that cold out right now. It's pretty sweet. My fingers can actually work in this terrestrial environment. So tonight we're going to talk about some stuff. We're going to analyze the famous speech by Martin Luther King Jr. Called "I Have a Dream." I have a dream. We're going to analyze whether or not he is a wizard. And I haven't watched the speech in a while, and so I want to do it with you guys, and we can just analyze what his words mean and what his words make you feel, and whether or not it's manipulative or whether or not it's a-okay. I'm gonna go over Elon Musk's hilarious tweets today. I'm pretty sure he gets it. Elon Musk gets it. He's playing the game. He's basically like the modern Kubrick. He knows what's going on, and it kills him that he can't tell anybody, but he wants to get that government tit. It's cool that a lot of you guys tuned in to my debate today with Harrison Smith on InfoWars. And I know it's not really a debate. A debate actually requires a moderator, and then there's one person makes a statement or a position like, you know, this is a keyboard, and then someone is arguing for the affirmative and then the negative. And you have opening statements, and then you go back and forth based on points and closing statements, and then and debate squared, the audience is polled before and then after, and whoever has the most swing wins. That's not how debates can possibly be these days on YouTube or the internet. It's more just people with differing opinions talking, and someone pointed out that that's more called a dialectic when you go to learn, but it's interesting. And you know, it was pretty obvious that I smoked him pretty hard. I mean, it wasn't even close, but he's a good dude, and that was a fun conversation. I've been getting more concern trolls lately than... Oh, and you can check it out at Owen Benjamin Clips. Base Texan put it up there today. Good times. But I've been getting a lot of concern trolls lately. Friends from all walks of life. People have just out of nowhere been like texting me like, "Hey man, I'm really concerned about your mental sanity." And it's really weird, but I think I figured out what it is. Like this one dude today, and he's a pretty well-known guy, and I'm not gonna say who it is because I really like the guy. But I just want people to understand what concern trolling is and how silly it is. It's when someone's bothering you, and I've been bothering people lately because of the way I live and the way I talk and the way I think. And so you frame it like that you're concerned about someone versus being like, hey, what you say makes me upset or something. Instead you say, hey, you know, I'm really worried about you. And the ironies are typically pretty amazing, but let me just tell you this basic back and forth. You know, He was like, "Do you really think we didn't go to the moon?" I'm like, "Yeah, let's talk about the telemetry data." I wanted to like discuss. He's like, "I'm really worried about you." He's like, "Did you really call Dave Rubin and Joe Rogan faggots?" And I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "They were helping your career. Like, why would you burn bridges? You're self-sabotaging." And this is a point I want to make just to save all of the misconception about me and how I see the world and how I treat friends. His sidekick Bear, obviously, he's in the CIA. He hates Jews. And how I treat friends and what my goals are in life. And I'll just make this very clear. And if you don't understand it, that's cool. And if you do understand it, that's cool. So there's this common misconception that the best way to live is to expand exponentially, and that people that can help you, you should use. And I even told this guy, I'm like, bro, I've talked to Joe Rogan 3.5 times in my life. 3 of them were on podcasts. I've talked to Dave Rubin in person 1 time. It was on his show. I talked to Jordan Peterson 1 time. He was on my live stream. And they're like, "Yeah, but you don't want to burn big bridges." These people, I'm like, dude, none of them paid me. Like I wanted to meet them. I was a fan of their work and I wanted to talk about. I'm like, influence is a currency, money's a currency. And then I pointed out to this dude, because this dude makes bank on his show. He's a well-known guy. And I'm like, if I don't like somebody, I'm not gonna say I like them because of what they can do for me. And he's like, "Well, you should rethink that." I'm like, bro, this guy offered me $5,000 once to like, cause he was getting bombarded by SJWs, and he was like, "Hey man, I'll give you $5,000 if you just have my back." And I'm like, "Bro, I'll have your back. Don't give me a dime. That's insane." So obviously I had his back in my Twitter days. And I'm like, okay, money is a currency, influence is a currency. Did you notice that I didn't take your money? And he's like, "Well, money isn't evil. That's weird that you would think that." I'm like, of course I know money isn't evil. My point is, I don't believe in allies, only friendships. Like, I'm not going to lie about my feelings about somebody or endorse somebody that I don't like because they have a currency they can offer me, which is influence or which is money. And as you can see in our relationship, I didn't do that. That's why the healthiest way for me to crowdfund specials and stuff is super chats, paypal.me/feedthebear, you guys just buying them or you guys just spreading this stuff. But when a friend offers to give me money in exchange for me doing something that I would do anyway, there's no way I would take it, right? And so he's like, "Yeah, but I'm just really worried about your mental health." And this is the point I'm trying to get to. In college, I used to work with old people. Where like, I remember the class in 1933 came, and I would like escort them around, and I drove a bunch of these older people in like a parade. And because of my piano playing jobs that I would have back in the day in high school and in college, I would meet a lot of older people. And I would actually listen to what they had to tell me about like how to structure my life and what really matters. Because we're never going to time travel, but you can time travel in a sense by listening to people that have been through life. And not a single one would ever tell me that money or power, that they regret not spending time with their family or doing what they wanted for more money or power. That was never told to me. Instead, they would tell me how important family is and hard work and how fast it goes, and just enjoy your life and enjoy the moments and all that stuff. Okay. So then I lived in Hollywood, and I got an element of success there. And I would have friends that were movie stars, and I would date famous women. And I got to really, really see the future in certain ways of living. If you have a way of looking at the world that you require exponential growth, you're living in a Ponzi scheme, and there's always a tipping point. What people perceive as me being mentally ill, and they really call me mentally ill, and I really find that offensive. Not like offensive in the way of like SJW offensive. This froze. Let me make sure this is still working. Is this still working, guys? You guys still here? I'm just double checking. Hello, hello. Hello, hello. Hello, hello. You guys there? Chat's a little messed up. The chat's getting maxed out these days. I was about to make a really sweet point, too. I'm just making sure I'm not talking to myself. I've done that before, by the way. I once had a stream where I talked to myself for a full hour before I realized it wasn't live. Let me, NASA streaming 134 watching. Yeah, I know. Is this good? Are we good? Yep, we're here. Okay, so anyway, there's a great book out called Scale, right? And there is, you guys good? So when friends call me mentally ill, and I'm talking about friends that a lot of them don't have families, they have drug problems, just real messes. And what they consider mentally ill is someone that doesn't require exponential growth. And I don't at all. Not only do I not require it, I know the pitfalls of it. I know how dangerous it is. And my mom once told me when I was a kid that the thing you should want is enough. And so the point I'm trying to make is there's a level that you can achieve that is the healthiest you can be. And the person that can find that level, because if I got more famous, I couldn't go out without being mobbed. I couldn't go places. Like I get props sometimes. Like people are like, you on Benjamin? Dude, I love your streams, like stuff like that. Or like, oh, I remember you on Sullivan or something. It happens every now and then. And I take it as a total compliment. It makes me happy. But when I go out with the Impractical Jokers or I go out with Vince Vaughn or Adam Sandler, they live in a prison made of gold where everywhere they go, a crowd will acquire and people just lose their mind. It's actually like if you live in that world long enough, you go insane. And a lot of people don't imagine what it would be like. But imagine everywhere you go and someone sees you, they just go, everywhere. That's the state of mind of a schizophrenic or someone with serious paranoia, right? Imagine everywhere you go, you think everyone's looking at you and people are following you and people are like freaking out when they see you. That's actually their life, right? Now, if I got any bigger, like I can do this with no writers, no producers, and I get to sit by my fire at my home and support my family more than enough, right? And I get to hang with you guys and talk about exactly what I like and not have to appeal to any sponsors or any networks or any of that stuff, okay? Any bigger, I would have employees and then I would have to watch what I said because I wouldn't want, what if somebody that works under me just had a kid and then I'm about to talk about, how there's no Jewish janitors. Like I would then have to because I'm a compassionate person, I would probably start biting my tongue and be like, man, I can't risk getting deplatformed again because Gary just had a kid. And Gary would be like, no, Big Bear, I support you, whatever. And then this little kid would walk out like, please, Owen, please, Big Bear, can you not get me deplatformed? Gary, my papa, you know what I'm saying? So what people see as mentally ill, you got to understand, these people don't even like Joe Rogan or Dave Rubin or the people that I've mocked when they've acted ridiculous. They just say, oh, and these people could have helped you more. And I'm like, dude, I'm already at over 3,000 people watching right now. It's so many people that I'm banning as many people as I can. I don't want any more. Check out the super chats. It's flowing. I believe it's a mental illness to want exponential growth at all costs. I'll show you my day and then we'll talk about some stuff. So this is what I was doing right when some people were texting me that they were concerned about me. This is my son Walter, and we are playing with 3-dimensional blocks with magnets, and I made a shark. He was like, you want me to make a shark? And he was so blown away with the shark that he couldn't stop smiling. And then we wrestled and we played games and we played monster trucks. And it was because I could. And then this morning, I woke up, and Amy and I had a really leisurely breakfast with Walter and Charlie, and we went into the front room and sat on our couch and watched the chickens and talked about, their personalities. And me and Walter were on the ground playing with monster trucks, and then we did tuta, and we got to like really focus on Charlie's crawling, and we were like, no way he crawled, and then he like looked up and hit his face on the ground. And those things you can't put a price on. And the amount of time I've spent with people in their 80s and 90s that I listen to, that I don't put away in a little corner of a nursing home and say, get the old people away. They don't know how to use the new Safari update. None of them will tell you to sacrifice that for exponential growth in business. And this very person that is telling me how concerned they are for me and that I've went insane, they don't have a family, they have no time, and they're very frustrated with life. The fact I get to say what I want makes people think I'm insane. The fact that I truly enjoy like times with Walter, or like today, I'm taking an unbelievable amount of pleasure in building my fence. And I got a great email from Westside Bear, who was a fence builder. And he said how much you can tell about a person by their fence, and what you can tell about human nature by their fence, because a chain link fence with giant barbed wire, you can get through it with just bolt cutters, but like any fence will dissuade people because they don't like even the most minimal, the most minimal thing will dissuade someone from going in. Like just the sound of a barking dog, even if it's a small dog, will keep your house more safe, because human nature tends to stay away from any challenges. It's just the least resistance they will go, especially criminals. That's one reason why rich people live on hills, because the amount of people that simply won't walk up a hill is unbelievable. And also what he was talking about, when you look at someone's fence and what it says about the homeowner, like what they focus on, what they don't focus on, stuff like that. And this is a whole world. And my fence isn't going to be that awesome. There's going to be mistakes. It's my first fence. But like the people that are out there trying to exponentially grow, they have no time. And what is more sane than to be intelligent enough and thoughtful enough and receptive enough and listen to people enough to understand that there is no way in hell, unless you're at zero or unless you're struggling with money. That's a whole different story. Do whatever it takes to climb out of that and feed your family and be safe and all that stuff, of course. But after that point, to me, it's a form of mental illness to continue exponentially at the price of your own family and your own ability of doing anything in your life that makes you happy. So Darth Sniper says JP Rant in 5, 4, 3. Now you're banned. And no, I'll keep them. It's all right. There's already so many people in the chat that it slows it down. So I'm always looking for people to ban. And the worst thing is it's not people who are critical of me or who give me constructive criticism. It's people that are all shitty or anybody that's like snarky and sarcastic, like, he's about to talk about the moon. It's like, we got to get people out. Jesus, just joking. Calm down, says Darth Sniper. Okay, now you're definitely banned. Because you have to understand, Darth Sniper, you're allowed to watch the stream and you can comment after or whatever and, talk to your little buddies about it, your little, or your mommy or whatever. But there's too many people here, guys. We all know that there's too many freaking people here, and it isn't your constitutional right to be able to say what you want on my stream. The reason it's much different to ban someone like me from Twitter or YouTube is because they had terms of service and it's a public square. People like Trump communicate to the people that elected him through Twitter. So to kick me off Twitter and not someone else who's actually like a terrorist means you have no terms of service, and it's basically a public utility. Now, okay, the difference would be the federal government doesn't allow certain people to own land. Now, that's a problem. But once you buy land, you can absolutely kick out whoever you want on your land. This is my land. And learning about weeding and stuff like that. And there's so many people in this chat that, like, my favorite amount of people is around 1,000. Right now, there's already 3,400 people. I guarantee it'll be over 4,000. And I'm blessed and I'm thankful. But at the same time, it's like I want you guys to be able to talk to each other and read each other's stuff. And the more just shitty people we have here, the more I just want to get them out of here. Don't become the problem. Well, thank you for letting me ban you. By all means, please let me know exactly who you are so I can get you out. Don't become part of the problem. Part of the problem is not having discernment, not being able to decide who you associate with, who you worship, who you marry, what your children learn in school, who comes into your country. Now, those are real problems, guys. The problem isn't unlimited tolerance. I think it's quite the opposite. You got to thin it out. You got to thin the herd. Stop banning us, says Dave. Well, now you're banned. You guys don't understand. I don't want this many people here. It's not because I just, if someone says, don't ban us, it's like, who the fuck is us, Dave? You're just a guy. You're just a guy bitching. And you have no idea how much pleasure this gives people. Like when I ban people on Instagram or here, and people are like, the Bears are turning on Owen. He's become what he hates. That's not happening at all. In case you haven't noticed, there's been a huge growth in the amount of people that watch this and interact with this. And it's because in this world of pathological tolerance, it feels pretty good to watch someone be able to say, no, you don't get to hang out here anymore. I can refuse service to anybody I want because that's what freedom really is. Slaves have to listen to what anyone says. Now let's find more people to ban. Call the herd, exactly. When people say ban me, you don't get banned because that's the kind of guy that doesn't bother me. It's because it's pretty funny. It's people that are like, the people that feel they deserve more. BB getting 1,000 new subs a day. Please ban me. No, it's not going to happen that way. That's not the way it works. It's only people that are like, I'm here to watch him kill himself. Okay. Clean your room. Love you all. Love you guys too. Yeah, it's nice grow. Weed your garden always, because it helps. It helps the good people have fun in the chat. There's a real positive to it. Some people assume it's some sort of like ego or something like that. There's people that jump in the chat and they see all these Daves and they're like, oh, this is crazy. I'm out of here. And then we lose some of the best people. It's like, to get rid of like nonsense is the best thing you can do, you know? As Jordan Peterson says, wipe your ass, bucko. I gave you $2 once, so now you can never ban me. Exactly. I'll put the money in the fire because it doesn't have any real value anyway. All right. Ban. Come on, someone say some shit. there's people in my childhood that were like, bro, stop playing the piano. Give it a rest. Come on. You're crazy. It's so stupid. All right, let me read a couple super chats and then we'll get into some good stuff. All right. Let me see here. Met with respect. We need you, Owen. Take a break. Might ban you. No, I'm not going to ban you because you start with not with respect, but there will be no breaks. We need a live stream intro theme song. Cheers song, but change everybody to every bear you knows your name. Making your way, not eating. Making your way, only eating salmon today. And some honey is real hard when you know we didn't go to the moon. All right, I'll figure out some stuff. Class is in session. Thank you, BB. China aborted the moon mission after they found out the moon is female. That's hilarious. Rest in peace, millions of unborn Chinese girls. Can be verified as hand-drawn bear. Welcome, hand-drawn bear. Let me see some of those drawings, baby. I'm worried about you equals gaslighting alert. Oh, I know, and it's usually from people that are just a mess. Friend, are you okay? Owen, yeah, I made $300 the other night talking about dumb shit. Did Bernie Worley have any influence on your playing? Bernie Worrell. I don't know what Bernie Worrell is, but that's, yeah, it's pretty funny. It's like, people are like, I'm worried about you. Your family looks really peaceful and happy, and you talk about what you want every night in front of a fire. Yeah, the dude also was like, why would you go after Bert Kreischer? I'm like, bisexual Bert Kreischer? Sodomy is not as cool as people think it is. Everyone's like, oh yeah, I mean, sodomy's awesome, yeah. No. If you take dicks in your ass, oh, and you killed it on InfoWars. Oh, thank you. If you take dicks in your ass, like, you can be, like, I think you should be allowed to own land and vote, and I'll be your buddy if you're cool, but I'm definitely going to make fun of you because that's weird. Especially if you're like married and stuff and you're just choking down cocks. No, I don't. Some of Bert's podcasts with me were his highest rated podcasts, and he didn't pay me a dime. What the hell do people think I'm getting from everybody? Like, when I go on people's podcasts, they're usually their highest rated ones. It's like, ooh, don't make me come on and be super interesting for no money. Ooh. All right. I did it. I don't do it for the dough. I do it for the bro. And my entire success in Hollywood came because of that quality that I've always had. You know, I would have a buddy and hang with him all the time and shoot sketches with him and stuff who like had a dead end job. And then they would become like vice president of Comedy Central. And then they'd like hook me up with gigs and people would be like, how does Owen do it? I don't know, because I just treat people right. All right, let's look at some more stuff. Dude, I think Elon Musk totally gets it. He wrote, there are no coincidences. And he tweeted, Neil Armstrong was the first person to land on the moon. Neil A backwards is alien. Okay, he's obviously joking, but here's the thing. In the upside down nonsense world, you know, CEOs and serious people and scientists have to joke about the truth while comedians get to say the truth, like, and be really serious about it. Like, I legitimately get to look into a camera and go, we didn't go to the moon. Elon Musk is dying to be able to say that. And he can't. He has to joke about it. And if you don't think that he's trying to tell people stuff, understand that people like Elon Musk are very, very motivated people and very independent and go-getters and smart and bright. And so once they take the government money, which he's done, and he's got to play ball. You know, he had to cancel his moon missions. And he probably either figured out we can't go, or the government wouldn't allow him to prove that they didn't go. I don't know either way. All I know is the original ones were fake. So now he's like, you can tell it's almost like he's dying to tell people. It's kind of like what Kubrick was doing in The Shining. And he had the movie Eyes Wide Shut. Kubrick, in his contract, made sure it was released July 19th, I believe was the date. It was the 30-year anniversary of the moon landing. And the movie was called Eyes Wide Shut. You got to understand, these people can't say it. They're not allowed to say the truth because they suck the devil's dick. But they're dying to. And so comedians are the only ones who can be serious, and the serious people have to be comedians. It's really, really hilarious. Like, I'll show you another example of Elon Musk trying to show people. Kubrick did film it, yeah, absolutely. Like this. Hang on. Evian, the first bottle of water, is naive spelled backwards. Elon Musk. Okay, I've been doing some research into some of the stuff you guys write me, and I can't keep up with all of it. You guys bombard me with very interesting things. So I know sometimes it gets frustrating when I haven't been able to look into some stuff that you tell me. But one thing that I looked into based on what you guys have told me is that plastic bottled water has an effect on men that like lowers their testosterone and like has all these hormone effects and stuff, right? So that went down the rabbit hole. So it also turns out that aside from the fluoride that's in tap water in certain areas, tap water is cleaner than bottled water. The government has a higher standard for tap water. I have well water, so I'm pretty set. But they have a higher standard for tap water than they do bottled water. There's only one person that works for the FDA that's in charge of all bottled water. And if you test bottled water, a lot of it is tap water, and it's kept in these plastics, that soft, crinkly plastic. It with osmosis, it becomes full of stuff that's really bad for you. And Elon Musk obviously knows this. And so when Evian came out, it was, it's like $3 for just tap water. And so he tweets, Evian, the first bottled water, is naive spelled backwards. And so one thing that I'm really, fluoride is bad. Yeah, that's the one thing about tap water. Figure out if your area has fluoride in it. But one thing about, what was I going to say? Osmosis. Smart water is gay. Yeah, it's dumb water. Smart cars are also dumb cars. Well water is sweet. So is rainwater. That whole acid rain movement when I was a kid by all the elite scientists, total bullshit. We're going to start collecting rainwater. Rainwater, there's a way to extra purify it that's pretty sweet, but rainwater is awesome. But yeah, fluoride is really, really bad for you. And there's no reason to put it in there. None. They say it's good for your teeth. I think that whole marketing thing with fluoride in toothpaste was to kind of get people off the trail of fluoride and make them think that it's like super good for your teeth. That wasn't the purpose of fluoride. So yeah, Elon Musk is screaming in his golden prison. All right, so what else we got here? So I couldn't tell if Faith Goldie was messing with me or not because I don't know her, but I've had her back before. It says, breaking, China lands spacecraft on far side of the moon. And she tagged at Owen Comedy on Twitter, which is my Twitter account run by Delev because I'm not allowed on Twitter. Oh, yeah, that's another thing this dude said. He's like, dude, it seems like you're just motivated by hate. Because he goes, tweeting about whether or not there's Jewish janitors. I'm like, dude, an Israeli tweeted that. She thought it was funny because there aren't any Jewish janitors. Instead of trying to find me a Jewish janitor, which they don't exist, people just get mad at me. And it's like, oh, you want to know what's actually a little more hateful than asking the question, are there Jewish janitors? The fact that Jews can't even clean up after themselves and everyone else has to be a janitor. How the hell isn't that talked about? So I don't know if Faith Goldie was trying to that's why I was like crafting a real attack. But then because of previous learning experiences, I was like, okay, let's not assume that she was trying to, because I was getting texts and crazy emails where everyone's like, hey, people wouldn't even say what they were doing. They would just drop it in there and be like, turns out other countries go to the moon. Hey, guy, check this out. And I just have to just continuously write unmanned. It's unmanned. And also, if you trust the Chinese government, you're insane. But it's also unmanned. So I couldn't tell if she was trying to like get me on the case or talk shit. So I just didn't say. I'm just waiting to see. I've never seen a Jewish lobster either, only gay ones. That's true. Faith is a good soul. Good. That's what I'm glad. I assume that. Funny how Owen has been talking about the moon hoax. Please, come on, say something awful. And then all of a sudden, China lands on the dark side of the moon. Bullshit. Okay, you're one of the good guys. You get it. I thought you were about to just be like, funny how Owen's talking about the moon hoax. When's he going to kill himself? I get so much of that. I have like no tolerance for it anymore. I'm just like, out, ban. I think she's just joking around. That's what I assume. I'm glad I didn't unleash. I can be a little defensive when I'm getting when people are just coming at me. I was gonna shoot a sketch where it shows like a dude being attacked by like 5 people and he's just swinging and stuff, and then it cuts to someone across the street and you don't see the 5 people. You just see the person swinging at nothing, and it's to show people what social media can do to your mind, because a lot of people don't see the fights I'm currently in when they just kind of write something, and my reaction is so just definitive and just like militant that they're like, hey, whoa, bro. And I'm like, oh, you didn't see the 1,000 people that just, told me to kill myself. And I get that. I get that, like, if you don't see what I go through, sometimes I probably seem pretty decisive. That's why I try to make it funny. I just call people retards, or I say that their mother was, citizen X, or patient 0 for HPV. Or I'll just say, like, your mom will blow anyone for attention. And the fact that I clearly don't know their mom should indicate that I'm being funny, but at the same time being antagonistic. It's the same with calling people retards. It's such a funny word, and it really carries almost no meaning. It doesn't mean I think you have mental retardation. It's just such a silly, taboo, stupid word that I usually use that to break tension, but it had the opposite effect with the moon hoax thing. Like, I'm like, no, retard, we never went to the moon. And people are like, I will not subscribe to you if you call me a retard. I'm like, your mom started HPV? Like, what exactly should I say? Because I'm not going to engage with someone that doesn't know anything and is just going to offend me. And when I say offend me, I'm not talking about SJW. Like, people will tell me I'm mentally ill. That's incredibly offensive to say to somebody with a family. If you actually believed I was mentally ill, you would be concerned for my family. That's always, my buddy was getting fired from being a teacher because he had an NRA bumper sticker and would make videos about how to shoot like SKS guns and stuff like that. And so they brought him in and they're like, we're worried that you may be a school shooter. And so he kept teaching and stuff. And at one point he goes to them, he's like, so let me get this straight. You think that I could be a school shooter and you let me come to work every day? And he's basically saying, like, you don't really think I'm going to be a school shooter, or else you wouldn't let me come to a school. And I'm the same way with the mental illness stuff. It's like, I'm worried about you. You're mentally ill. It's like, if you really were, you would act completely different than how you are. You know what I'm saying? And we're about to get to Martin Luther King Jr. Owen Banner the Incredible Bear Hulk. True unbearables. That's awesome. Yeah, totally. Last time I got laid was a Jewish janitor. I feel like you're lying about both. Oh, and what happens? Ah, man, the chat's too fast. I got to ban more people. On what happens when China proves USA lied on the moon? It'll be a great day for me. You know, no one will apologize. People will just get weird. You know, someone was wrote me a story on a comment on yesterday's stream as this girl was like, this reminds me a lot of when I told my sister that her boyfriend was cheating on her. Her sister got furious and, you know, started throwing things and started rumors, wouldn't talk to her. And then her sister's boyfriend gave her crabs. And so she said that her sister started talking to her again, but never apologized. And I feel like that would happen with the moon situation, with the amount of people that have literally said things to me that I wouldn't say to my worst enemy. When it is proven that we didn't go to the moon, which it will be, they won't apologize. They'll just like be like, oh yeah, oh, and yeah, I mean, it's kind of like Alex Jones was right about Bohemian Grove. That's unbelievable. Alex Jones was saying that the elites of the world all get together and they get naked and they mock human sacrifice and they pray to an owl and they plan how they're going to rule the world. And people literally, like powerful people, media people were like, he is an idiot. And then he proved that not only is it true, it's even crazier than he said. And people were like, ban him. We got to get him out of here. Like they absolutely... There's people that don't care at all about truth. It's only power. And so that's what this dude was trying to tell me. He's basically like, just keep people's secrets, you know, just play the game and you'll get more power. And I'm like, there's absolutely nothing good that comes from power. Nothing. And I require no power over anyone. I think it has to do with my height. I think really short men with a lot of money, they realize they still are looked at as children. Like, you know, like when a 5'5" man, and I put man in quotes, has a lot of money and fancy cars and all this stuff. And he realizes that he still needs a booster seat, you know, at Chuck E. Cheese. They then require power. And that's when things get really bad. And that's why I don't trust short men. Because they typically end up in some form of secret society, sucking the blood out of babies. All right. Ignore the haters, BB. Well, I mean, I can't really ignore them because then I ignore all the good stuff. My life is 95% ridiculously positive. The emails you guys send me, the comments you guys post on here it's a better education than college was. And the support and the community, it's so good that if I can't take the bitter, I can't get any of the sweet. And so, of course, I can't ignore the trolls and the monsters because then you can't turn it on and off based on who it is. You have to just either like allow input or not. You know, and the people that just shut off themselves from their own audience, like I think Joe Rogan has that problem. I think Joe Rogan spent too many years not reading his comments, not getting emails, not, you know, interacting with the people that like him, that he kind of forgot what it was. I think he spent too much time around the intellectual dark web fags and forgot what he was and what people like about him, you know? And I think that that's kind of like, that could happen to me. Absolutely. I'm not holding myself above Joe Rogan in that sense because I've been in a world of just everybody you know is like a Sam Harris faggot, you know, just like, hey, let's, you know, and that's death for creativity. It's death for, I mean, Rogan's joke writing ability has went like this. It's just, and you know, it's true. You can't call me a hater if it's true. I'd only be a hater if I was like, yeah, Brian Regan ain't funny no more. And he is. Brian Regan's hysterical. Or if I said like Norm Macdonald was never funny. No, that would be insane because then you'd be like, oh, you're a hater. Or if I was like, Donald Trump sucks at business. But when it's true, it clearly isn't being a hater. In fact, it's the only thing that could possibly help these people. Rome was never all that funny. Yeah, but all the stuff about animals was really funny. Like about dolphins And like his views of animals was really, really funny. Really funny. Like Joe Rogan thinking about animals and thinking about like the intricacies of an animal's life was really funny. And that's kind of like what he doesn't do anymore. Now he's more about, just stupid shit. Brian Regan is great. He's unbelievably good. There's a ton of funny people. Eric Nimmer, my opener on the road, is insanely funny. It's not even just the famous people. There's some people that a lot of people don't know about that are just crazy funny. But yeah, you got to stay in touch with your people. Like you got to read the comments. You got to, you got to live amongst the people you like. That's why this whole castle on the hill mentality is death to thoughtful people. And I think one thing that a lot of Hollywood didn't understand about me and kind of made them think that I was insane is the fact that I like lived amongst the people that came to my shows and never stopped. And I think they would cut themselves off and only hang out with each other. And when you're trying to make other comedians laugh or executives or titans of industry or PR people or just random Jews or just rich Saudis that are financing your movie, you're not funny to the people that originally liked you. And everybody's malleable. Everybody can be swayed. And that's one reason why I've structured my life so that my friends aren't all movie stars or all like rich people that like don't hang out with anybody, because I would have a distorted perception of reality. I don't like Rogan. Yeah, most people don't like Rogan anymore. And it's pretty obvious. His YouTube channel and his podcast get a lot of views, but it's not a lot of like love or respect. He used to get a lot of respect from me as well. Like back in the day when he would have on his buddies and they would talk about not going to the moon and shit, or like he would bring in, health experts that would talk about like saunas, or like, he exposed me to Steven Crowder, and like him and Steven Crowder fighting, and he like, Rogan's being an asshole to Crowder. But that's when I really liked it. I liked Crowder for that. And like Rogan would have on people that other people wouldn't have on. But that's all gone. Like he doesn't have those people anymore that just like read his comments. His audience is becoming like Cher's audience. They're like just snooty gay guys. I first heard you on Rogan, your first episode. Yeah, and it's great that a lot of people heard me on Rogan, but I don't want more fans. Like I like the Bears. Like I don't want a ton of people to just tell me I'm fucking awesome because they saw me on some platform that is huge. That literally sounds to me like a nightmare. And people think I'm saying that like I'm lying or I'm like trying to like pull some maneuver. That literally sounds like a nightmare. Like I can't imagine living that way at all. Like you live in a golden prison. Right now there's 4,200 people watching. That's more than all of Comedy Central for when they do live things. That's more than anybody on Daily Wire. There's no ad. I pay $0 to promote it. I'm not allowed on Twitter. I'm not allowed on Facebook.